All right, let's talk about NDAs, specifically the clause that almost every founder thinks protects them but actually does not. I'm James. I teach contract drafting to startup founders and early stage lawyers, and I review a lot of NDAs. And there's one mistake that I see constantly. Founders sign an NDA, they share sensitive information, they assume they're protected. Sounds good so far. Then something goes wrong. The other party uses what you shared. You call a lawyer, and the lawyer tells you this NDA doesn't actually cover that. And then your mind is blown. Today, I'm going to show you why that happens and more importantly, how to catch it before you sign. So let's go ahead and dive in. Here's the clause that we're talking about. Confidential information means any information disclosed by one party to the other, whether oral or written. It looks fine, right? Broad protection, everything you share is covered. So far it's looking pretty good, except it's not. Because right after that definition, there's a second paragraph. And this is the one that most founders skip. To be considered confidential information, written materials must be marked confidential at the time of disclosure. Oral disclosures must be confirmed in writing within 10 days and marked as confidential. That second paragraph just eliminated most of your protection. Here's what it means in practice, though. You're in a meeting. You share your customer acquisition strategy. Numbers, channels, unit economics, the whole thing. You think to yourself, we have an NDA, this is protected. But you didn't send a follow-up email within 10 days confirming what you said and marking it as confidential. So it's not protected at all. The other party can use everything that you said. They can share it, they can build their own strategy around it. You just don't want to imagine how far it can go. So why do NDAs include these requirements? Well, because without them, every casual conversation becomes a potential lawsuit. I mean, imagine if everything that you said in a meeting was automatically confidential forever. The other party, they wouldn't be able to reference anything that you discussed. They couldn't use any general concepts that apply to all sorts of things, not just what you were talking about. They would be held in a frozen state. So NDAs include procedures. You have to mark things as confidential. You have to confirm oral statements in writing. This procedure protects both parties. It creates clarity. But it only works if you know that the procedure exists and if you follow it. Most founders don't even know that it's there in the first place. Now, not all NDAs are this strict. There are three main variations. Variation number one, everything is confidential by default. Some NDAs will say something along the lines of all information disclosed in connection with this relationship is deemed confidential information. This is the most protective, no marking required, no follow-up emails at all. But it's also the rarest because it's the least practical for the other party. Variation number two might go something like written materials must be marked. This is the most common. Written stuff needs a confidential stamp. Oral stuff needs written confirmation. This is the version that I showed you earlier. Now, variation number three might be something like only information explicitly designated as confidential. Some NDAs go a little bit further and say only information specifically designated as confidential information in writing shall be protected. If you see this version, be very careful because it means that nothing is protected unless you explicitly call it out every single time. Okay, so you sign an NDA, it has the marking requirements. How do you actually comply with this? Here's a process that you may use and that will probably work for you. For written materials, you can just add confidential to every page, header or footer. And if you're sending a deck, put it on the title slide and after every slide that comes afterwards. If you're sending a document, watermark it. For oral disclosures, within 10 days or whatever the NDA actually specifies, send an email, subject line, confirmation of confidential discussion, date, the date that you had the conversation. In the email, you summarize what you discussed, and then you mark the confidential email as confidential. Yes, this is tedious. Yes, most people don't do it. And that's why most NDAs don't actually protect much of anything. If you're reviewing an NDA before you sign it, here's what you should actually be looking for. First of all, check if there's a marking requirement. Look for language like must be marked, or must be designated, or must be confirmed in writing. If it's there, you have two options. Option number one, you can remove the requirement entirely, ask for automatic protection of all information that is shared in connection with that relationship. Option number two, you can extend the timeline. Instead of 10 days for oral disclosures, you can maybe ask for 30. It gives you a little bit more breathing room and makes it less likely that you will forget to send that follow-up. Second, clarify what marked means. Does it need to actually say confidential, or can it say proprietary? Can it say internal use only? Make sure you're not accidentally invalidating protection just because you used the wrong word. Third, add an exception for emergency disclosures. What if you're in a pitch meeting and you need to share something immediately? You don't have time to mark a document. Add something like, notwithstanding the above information disclosed during in-person meetings shall be deemed confidential if identified as such verbally at the time of disclosure. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than nothing and could get you out of a jam. Now, here's the thing about NDAs. They don't really protect information automatically. They create a framework for protection, but frameworks only work if you actually use them. So if you sign an NDA and then you ignore the requirements, you don't really have any protection. You have a false sense of security, because now you're sharing all sorts of information thinking that you're safe when in actuality, when in reality, you are not. So before you sign your next NDA, do this. Read the confidential information definition, all of it. Check for marking requirements. Decide if you can actually comply with those requirements. If you can't, don't sign it. Negotiate better terms that will actually benefit you and are things that you can actually do. The NDA is only as good as your ability to follow it. If you want a simple checklist for reviewing NDAs before you sign them, comment NDA below and I'll send it to you. It covers the confidential information definition, the exceptions, the term, and everything else that you need to check. Takes about 5 minutes or so. Could save you a lot of headaches down the line. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.